I feel like all y'all should really shut the up. Don't nobody care who the Emmett Till is.
I'm a very firm believer that in order for the world to get better, certain people need to lose access to the internet entirely. Because me and every other person in the world that comes across this video now knows that you're insane. Of all the things that a human mind can imagine on a beautiful Wednesday morning, I never thought that I'd ever have to start my day off to seeing Emmett Till catching strays on the internet. Now, if you're totally clueless as to what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. I'm gonna lock you in. Now, it's important to understand that this whole situation started off because of a show named Baddies. And if you don't know what that is, first of all, I want to congratulate you because you're an upstanding member of society. But it's like a reality TV show with all the divas in one place where they typically fight, argue, cause unnecessary drama, and pretty much compete for who's the biggest degenerate in the show.
I heard your butt. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. I'm talking to you like that. I'm talking to you like that.
You see how you
I'm talking to you like that.
You see,
talking
that's what I said.
Shut
I'm
up.
telling you. Yo, shut the fuck.
Now, I don't know a single person who enjoys watching these clowns on the show, but binge watching these stupid shows that promote ghetto and unhinged behaviors to certain communities might just be your thing. I mean, who am I to judge? But naturally, as these shows would typically function, there's always a pointless argument. And in this specific argument, there's a contestant known as Summer on this show that made a comment that was pretty diabolical. Not because of the other person that she was attacking, but because of what was said, who was referenced, and the real meaning behind what she was saying.
You wish you could be like that. That face was like Emmett Till. Go re-instruct your.
Now, I hope to God that I actually don't have to explain to any grown adult who Emmett Till is, because his story is such a pivotal part of American history. But that is arguably one of the most, if not the most disrespectful comment I've ever heard on TV. There were like 1,000,001 other ways for her to tell this other lady that she was ugly, but she decided to compare her looks to the deformed face of a 14-year-old who was brutally murdered at the height of racial injustice. And perhaps the worst part about this whole comment is that you actually have to know the details of what happened to him and the aftermath of what his actual face looked like in order to even think of making such a crazy comparison. The story of Emmett Till is literally one of the most sensitive stories in American history. Casually dropping a comment like that is sick.
That face was like Emmett Till. Go re-instruct your.
Since then, people have been outraged. They've been calling for her to get canceled. I mean, the backlash was so bad that she was forced to give a public apology. And people have even gone as far as to call for the cancellation of the Baddies show in general. And to everybody's surprise, low IQ individuals have come out to say that Emmett Till is not even that important.
I feel like all y'all should really shut the up. Bitch, don't nobody care who the Emmett Till is.
It is very mind-numbing to actually see that people like this exist. And what's even crazier is that there are other people like her arguing that Emmett Till is not important. You really cannot make this up. Like, what the f do you mean nobody cares about Emmett Till? What do you mean by you don't know who Emmett Till is? Like, where were you when they taught that whole chapter in history class? And if for some magical reason you never learned why this guy was important your whole 12 years in school, why didn't you do your research before you gave this take? This is not some random historical name like Lee Harvey Oswald. His name actually matters. How disappointed can it really get? You're a young black woman who's a direct descendant of victims like Emmett Till. His story is a significant part of your culture. Like, not knowing him as a grown adult is already embarrassing enough, but coming out to publicly speak ill of a victim who has left significant marks on American history and has highlighted the extreme evil behind racial injustices in America by giving up his life as a 14-year-old boy just to defend some bops on TV is actually outrageous. And when I tell you that no normal individual held back on this girl on the internet, you can't just take my word for it. You gotta see it.
I can tell y'all exactly why we keep seeing shit like this. We are online with a bunch of niggas who was scared to read and popcorn reading. Cause what the fuck you mean you don't know who Emmett Till is? What the fuck do you mean Emmett Till? What do you mean I'm supposed to know baddies before I know black history?
I've never been more pissed off at a TikTok in my life. I've never been more pissed off. I'm so irritated. This really just pissed me off. Because how are you a black woman and you are uneducated?
And to the girl that said F Emmett Till, yes, Emmett Till. Your favorite color gotta be 3, because ain't no way in hell our ancestors is probably mad as hell rolling in their grave right now because of stupid shit you said.
Growing up, a big lesson that I've come to learn is that you can't just throw random sentences around certain things, especially when it comes to historical events or national tragedies that have happened, because they've either affected a family, a community, or a nation in a very catastrophic way. And it makes sense that people will get really sensitive about that really quickly.
Damn,
Y'all got too serious. That's too serious, mama.
It is your complete job as an adult to be aware and understanding of that fact. So when you come out and say things as outlandish as that, don't expect people to take it easy on you, because they're not going to. I mean, don't we all remember the aftermath of what happened when Kanye West went on one of his insane rants and then made the grave mistake of saying that 400 years of slavery was a choice?
Y'all had me scared of myself, of my vision. So I took some pills so I wouldn't go to hospital and prove everyone right. You hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. And the reason why I feel like that,
because there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. The rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. Every day we have to walk into that truth while you choose to say things that, to be honest with you, dog, are nonsensical.
If someone as famous and as successful as Kanye West can be checked for the outlandish thing that he's saying in the same moment that he says it, why do you think you're exempt from accountability? But this is not even the worst part. There's more, because this girl's ego kept her from taking accountability for her actions and just moving on with her life. Even with her starting to grasp the understanding of how serious this situation really is, she just had to dig a deeper hole for herself within the community.
Emmett Till is a victim. The girl was only 14.
At this point, she needs to vacate herself from the internet. Clearly, TikTok is just not for you, because not only have you disrespected an important part of your culture and heritage, you weren't even smart enough to do research on the person you were talking about. Because if you had the slightest knowledge about Emmett Till, you would know that he was not a girl and he was not an SA victim either. I genuinely don't know how to feel about the rise and display of lack of education that we're starting to see on the internet nowadays. People like this dumb bag of rocks over here would literally argue with you about something they know nothing about, with all the confidence in the world too. It's actually disturbing. And there's quite a bit of people that go back to this theory that the CIA is somehow behind this. The CIA is at work with the black community. The CIA is doing this. The CIA is doing that. What do my people need to do to be freed from the shackles of the CIA's bondage? My brother in Christ, the CIA retired 40 years ago. Jersey up in the rafters and everything. They don't got nothing to do with us. Even if the CIA were present today, bro, they'd be shocked to see the type of numbers we're putting up in the black community to set ourselves back. These guys are going up to work just to recline their seats, waiting for the black community to come up with the next diabolical thing. The last 5 years have literally been a generational run. The CIA doesn't have to do a damn thing. Only in the last 5 years, we've had Sexy Red. In the same span of those 5 years, we had the Kale Boys. In that same span, we also had the Galaxy Gas Fiends. We've had PPP loan merchants. We've literally had idiots who thought they could scam Chase, one of the oldest and most prestigious banks in the world. And let's not even imagine how somehow we managed to turn an innocent pop the balloon speed dating show to an over-sexualized nasty fest. Now we have grown adults saying F Emmett Till and nobody cares about Emmett Till. We're literally having to give fully grown adults history lessons about Emmett Till. Keep in mind that this is basic history that even people outside of the United States know. And it's honestly really embarrassing that we have a grown black woman who not only doesn't know the history behind her culture and heritage, she's actively willing to slander people who died for her freedom today over a show named Baddies. I'll leave you to make your conclusions in the comments below on this one, because I wouldn't even know where to begin. But anyways, please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe if you would like more content like this.